Welcome back to CryptosRus. I am George. We're all George. Now, boys, my sound is working. Welcome back from Labor Day. Hopefully, you guys all had a good Labor Day weekend. But today, we got to talk about Bitcoin retesting this key indicator. Is it a warning to us all? What else is going on in the world today? Let's talk about all these things and more. Let's do this. Welcome. Like I said, hopefully you guys are refreshed, ready to go, right? It's a 4-day week, so what's to complain about, right? Other than what's going on with markets. So right now the U.S. market is, I don't know, a little red right now. There's still a lot of FUD out there, a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So it's not like we're in a full-blown bull market just yet, but we have started a new month. August was not so good overall for crypto. Let's see if September will be different. But there's a couple of good economic stuff that's going on in the U.S. Goldman Sachs now says that the chances of the U.S. going into recession, see, the thing is we're already in recession, but these guys want to say we're not. I'll just say thinks that we're going to go into a deeper recession. The chances of that has been cut down from 20 to 15%. So basically, as this, I don't know, as our situation develops, people are studying economic data like jobs and unemployment and, I don't know, retail sales, manufacturing, everything. Right now, all these analysts are saying there's a very little chance that we go deeper in recession. Right now, we're slowing down. Obviously, there's some softening, but we're not going to go into a deep recession. That's what everyone else is saying, right? And I tend to agree because if you look at these data, they're not getting much worse. It's not like we're seeing significant drop. If we start seeing significant drops in all these data, then it's obviously it's very worrisome. But right now, that's not the case. Also, what's helping with this narrative is the fact that, well, this prediction for the next FOMC meeting, which is coming up in about 3 weeks, 95% chance we will not get another rate hike. Okay, and this has been pretty accurate, though it does swing wildly as we get closer to the date. But right now, it's looking like we are set at our 5.25 to 5.5 rate, and we are not going to move higher, which is good, which is very good. And something else that's also pretty good is the fact that Treasury yields are going up. And why is this good? This generally means, okay, investors are more confident in other things. So that's why they're not buying bonds as much. They're buying other things such as commodities or real estate or crypto, right? And that's why yields are going up, because they're less attractive. Now, if you start seeing yields go down in a major way, that's when it's no good for everything else, right? So right now, we got some good stuff going on. Not the greatest, not in a full-blown bull market. The U.S. economy is doing okay. It's doing okay. And next year, I think it's going to be so much better. I've talked about next year being a trifecta. Actually, it's more than trifecta. It's a quadfecta of goodness next year. Think about it. We have Powell that will be cutting rates next year. We're going to have a Bitcoin spot ETF. Many of them come out next year. We also have the halving event. Let's not forget about that. And we have a presidential election. And if you look at every election year, they have been absolutely fantastic for all markets. So next year is going to be crazy. Quadfecta of goodness, right? But in the meantime, we're not there yet. We just have to hold on a little bit longer. And today, I saw a couple things. I think a lot of the naysayers, a lot of the bears will point to a couple of these indicators that Bitcoin is testing. So I wanted to address it. Number one is Bitcoin is now touching that that EMA 200, which traditionally speaking has been a very, very, very good support. Now, of course, we did break through that recently, okay? Last year when we had the FTX collapse and everything else collapse, and then we went below, and we stayed there for quite a long time until we broke out earlier this year, and we stayed above, right? So now we're back at that point right around, you know, this 25.7, 25.8-ish, right? So the naysayers will say something like this being very bad, that we can't break out of this line and we keep retesting it. And when you retest something long enough, eventually it breaks through, right? So this is one of those indicators that Bitcoin is retesting. Another one is this on the Fibonacci level, 38.2% level is generally speaking a good support, okay? Especially coming off from bottom. You look at previous cycles, Bitcoin broke above, then retested it, and then guess what happened? It went upwards, right? So some of these indicators that the naysayers will point out to, right? Actually, if you think about it and you expand out, realize that these are actually pretty positive indicators. A lot of times you see Bitcoin retest these even after breaking out significantly. So this does not necessarily mean that these are bad things, okay? Although some other channels, I won't name names, they are super, super, super bearish, and you know, it just doesn't quite make sense. It doesn't add up when you add up all the facts and you look at the fundamentals of Bitcoin. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I want to address these two. You know, you got a couple of scary retests, sort of, but then you realize a lot of these retests are normal. They happen all the time with every single cycle. So is it really scary at all? Well, not according to Arthur Hayes, okay, co-founder of BitMEX. There's a lot of conferences coming up. Right now is the Korean Blockchain Week, and then of course that leads into, I should say, Token 2049. It leads into ETH Singapore, then it leads into Token 2049. So there's a lot of conferences going on right now. But Arthur Hayes argues that we're already in a bull market, and this is what I said too. Why are we in a bull market? Well, because of this, right? We actually broke out above this 200 EMA. And also, the main point is, it was the first time in Bitcoin's history where we saw it gain strength as bank weaknesses happened. We've never, ever, ever seen that before. We never, ever seen Bitcoin actually be a true store of value and a hedge, I guess, against the banks and financial institutions, right? And I agree, and I've said that. We started a new bull run. We're just at the very beginning. And in every bull run, it just doesn't just go up to the moon. Not yet. Not until after the halving event and we have that last year. That's when things go up no matter what. Okay, but we're before that. We're right at the cusp of getting there, right? So this is definitely not the time to be scared out, right? To fall for the FUD that some are still trying to spread. Doesn't make sense to do so. Also, just take a look at this. Exchange transactions, the red line is BTC being withdrawn out. The green is being deposited in. And as you can see, the deposited in keeps on going down because no one is looking to sell. The long-term holders continue to hold. So why would they sell? Because they truly believe in Bitcoin. And of course, the withdrawals continue to be higher than deposits and continues to climb because there's more and more people, and specifically whales and large institutions that keep buying behind the scenes OTC. So that is why overall exchange reserves keeps going down, right? Again, great things are happening. Number of addresses, whole coiners in this space, well above 1 million now. I remember when this figure was below 1 million, but continues to go above 1 million, 18,747. And a lot of you guys are whole coiners now, right? Through DCAing, through years of self-discipline. That's what it takes sometimes. Okay, to get a whole coin, to have one full Bitcoin is not easy. But if you've been listening to me, it would have been easy. But yeah, I'm glad to see this, and this continues to go up, and you just don't really see this dip anymore, not like previous times, because, again, the conviction and faith of Bitcoiners continue to go upwards and onwards, and again, part of the growing fundamentals that have never, ever, ever been better for Bitcoin, arguably. I know a lot of people still just look at the price, that's all they care about, and they don't truly understand why Bitcoin can one day go to 1 million. People just look at it, well, there's no way it could go to 1 million at 25, 26,000. That just doesn't make any sense. But if you truly understand what's going on behind the scenes and the growing fundamentals of it and the growing network and growing adoption, then you'll truly understand it can get there. It can get there. Kathy Wood, one of the biggest bulls, of course, Bitcoin bulls out there, says that Bitcoin and AI can transform the way companies organize, causing collapse in costs and explosion in productivity. Who doesn't like hearing that? And also, you know, how this relates to inflation, right? Generally speaking, technology is deflationary. So that would actually do a whole lot in terms of helping our inflation problems, okay? Because the governments will keep on printing. They're not going to stop. Governments around the world will keep on printing. This is what they know. And now they have accepted the fact that they could just print trillions more without much consequences, okay? But Bitcoin is how you go against that, okay? If you want to opt out of that, you don't want to see your money devalue over time significantly, not just by a little amount. If you want to opt out of your money being devalued in a significant way over the coming years, how you opt out is by buying Bitcoin and holding Bitcoin. Nothing has outperformed Bitcoin in the last 10 years. Not even close. Not even close. So that's also good. And then, of course, you got the big giants, okay, even banks that are adopting Bitcoin and crypto. South Korean banking giant partners with BitGo, opens doors to crypto. Awesome. Awesome. These banks are starting to realize, hey, we gotta adapt or we're gonna be gone soon, right? So you got big institutions also. You know, I've been talking a lot about BlackRock and Fidelity and Vanguard and all these big boys. Of course, they're the biggest asset holders on the planet. But you got a lot of smaller guys with billions upon billions of assets also that are now looking to switch, right? Revolt is also another one, a big fintech bank out of France. They're integrating Segwit wallets for its users. So you're starting to see the revolution and the change slowly. But, I mean, honestly, it's not slow. I mean, I cover this all day, every week, every year. So, I mean, for me, it's kind of slow. But if you think about it, all this really started in 2021. So it's only been like 2 years. Imagine another 4 years, another 10 years, how much more adoption there will be. I don't think it's something that we can even predict right now. I mean, honestly, I can't imagine what it's going to be like after this halving event and the next halving event. And then the parabolic run end in, what is it? It'll be 2020, 2029, 2030. I can't even imagine how the landscape would be then. You know, how high Bitcoin will be, how high Ethereum and everyone else will be too, right? It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Again, it comes down to, I created a couple of videos recently. It comes down to patience, really having patience and believing in the cause, believing in what you're holding, right? If you don't have those, you gotta find a way to get them, I guess. All right, last few things. I saw this. This was a major hack that was reported yesterday. Stake, the gambling platform, they were hacked for $41 million, discovered by a couple internet guys. And now 5 hours later, they reopen and say everything is okay. Hopefully it is. I mean, these guys have enormous amount of money. They throw around an enormous amount of money, right? They also have a streaming platform. called Kick, which they're trying to grow, and they're throwing enormous amount of money at streamers there. So hopefully they still have enough money in the bank after getting robbed of $41 million, right? Yeah, we'll just go with that. What else is there? There's some kind of VC that just rug pulled. They're not a traditional VC. So Synapsis, I've never heard of this company. Maybe some of you guys have. Synapsis Labs. They gave basically $9 million Synapsis token to this VC firm that's supposed to be utilizing it to invest. Instead, they dumped all the tokens and then closed shop. That's what they did. So again, unfortunately, you hear about this all the time, rug pull, right? It happens. You just have to really be careful. I mean, you just hear about hacks all the time and rug pulls all the time, right? It gives crypto a bad name. And it just shows how early and immature the space is. Some of us has been in the space for, I don't know, 10 years now, 9 years. It seems like it's forever, but no, it's not really. Just think about when the internet started, and that sounds like, oh, it was like a million years ago. No, it didn't start that long ago, but when the internet started and the Web 2 stuff came out, like all the e-commerce sites, you know, all those companies that came out in the 2000 era, most of them died, and there was a lot of problems too. It took a long, long time to get to where we are now. Same thing with mobile. Same thing with anything, right? So even though this situation sucks, and there will be probably more situations like this, just keep in mind that the entire space is just very, very early. We need time. We need time for these projects to truly develop into the gems that they are. It's just not there yet. But again, in the meantime, be careful with your own money. Be careful with the crypto that you invest in. There's a lot of hot projects that come out all the time, and no one really knows anything about them. They FOMO in, and sometimes they lose. So don't be one of those guys. Don't FOMO into projects that you simply don't know anything about. And then lastly, Solana. A lot of Solana fans. Recently, there's a lot of Solana news. Visa expands stablecoin settlement pilot to Solana. Visa and MasterCard are both piloting blockchain. They've been utilizing Ethereum, but maybe they decided they need to go on a chain that's much faster and much less costly. It makes sense. The thing is, you know, Visa and MasterCard, they process like hundreds of thousands of transactions, okay, per day. So they need something that's very fast and robust, okay? And you could say that's Solana, but Solana has to prove itself, has to prove that it's not going to have any more outages like before. Otherwise, big companies like Visa and Mastercard, they can't have that. They're going to leave, right? And then not just these fintech companies, but, you know, for all the future dApps that will be coming aboard, they need to know that the network will not go down constantly. But it's good for Solana. Good for Solana. All right, that's what I want to cover today. U.S. market, a little bit in the red, starting off no good. Here's a headline news. Fed Governor Waller agrees that the central bank could proceed carefully on interest rates. Yeah, that means no more. 95% of no. Hopefully that doesn't change. All right, outside of that, crypto overall is not doing a whole lot. Same as yesterday. They'll love to see Bitcoin and the rest of the market come up. We have a few movers, but very, very, very small movement today. All right, let's do some Q&A. Black Sun. Hey, George, is Gala going to die? I hope not. But when you had two co-founders suing each other, that's a really, really bad look, right? And obviously, this is bringing up questions about, you know, tokens being held by the leadership. Can we trust the leadership to do what's right for the users? I mean, did they misappropriate some of the funds too? Brings up a lot of questions, right? The platform itself and the games themselves seem fine. A lot of people have commented saying they love the games. They love playing what's on top of the platform. But how can anyone trust that, you know, they will thrive and continue to move forward when the two co-founders are claiming fraud against each other, right? That's a big, big negative. Negative in a big way. All right, let me make sure I didn't miss anything on top here. Yeah, a lot of people talking about Gala on top. The red loop. DD equals Fud Factory. I did take a look at his channel recently, and I saw every single video and title and thumbnail is so bearish and fuddish. I didn't watch him, but I didn't need to. I could definitely tell that's how he's feeling. Rose K, member for 21 months. Wow, thank you. What do you think about Library Token? Well, they're bankrupt, so I would say they are not a good hold. They got bankrupt by fighting the SEC, so that's about that. Maybe another company will buy Gala in the future. I don't know. Maybe. But no companies go buy it when the lawsuits are still happening. You know, one or two people have to cave, basically. I don't know who's exactly right. You know, I really don't know either co-founder well enough. Eric, the CEO, he was the co-founder of Zynga. So he basically is accusing his partner of dumping $130 million worth of Gala tokens over the years. So, and that partner somehow holds 45% of the supply, which is really crazy if you think about it. Like, how did it even get there? So, anyways, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Eric's the one to be trusted or the other guy. The other guy says Eric, you know, is trying to take full control, and this, you know, conversion benefited himself more than anyone else. So I don't know what to say about the whole thing. Gala airdropped me twice as much as what was in my account. Why? I have no idea. Make sure that that's legit and not some company airdropping you some fake tokens, because that doesn't sound right. And that airdrop was a while ago. Do you think Bitcoin still has a chance at world reserve status in the next decade? In the next 10 years? Probably not. I could see BTC being the world's reserve currency maybe like in 20 or 30 years. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. But it has to get large enough and mature enough where basically every country now holds it. And they're all thinking, okay, since we all hold it, why not just make it the reserve currency, right? Like, it's going to take a while. I think everyone would come to that conclusion eventually, and here's why. Because no one really wants to support another country's currency. They're kind of forced into it, right? Like right now you see all the BRICS nations, they're talking about get off the USD standard. It's not easy to get off because the world runs on USD, right? But again, let's say BRICS comes out with their own currency. Will the US ever want to utilize it and recognize it as a reserve currency? No. Will UK or any of the NATO nations want to recognize it as a reserve currency? No, right? You're always going to have this problem where countries, sovereign countries, are not going to like the fact that they're going to have to adopt some other country's currency as a reserve currency, right? So what better currency than Bitcoin? Because it's not sovereign at all. No country controls it, right? So that's why I think eventually over time, and it's going to be a long time, Bitcoin will probably be above 10 million by then each. It has to become so large and so mature, and at that point, when everyone's fighting what should be the next reserve currency, they're like, okay, why not Bitcoin? Because no one can control it, no one owns it. Solana pumping, is that right? I don't know, 0.73% counts as pumping. Let's refresh here. Man, something happened with CMC. It's not loading. Yeah, Solana is doing pretty good, probably because of this news. Because of the Visa stablecoin pilot. Why do I keep receiving strange NFTs in my cold wallet? Don't fall for them. People just airdrop NFTs all the time. A lot of them are ads. A lot of them have like a URL telling you go here. They're all scams. Okay, just don't fall for them. No one sends like a Bored Ape around. Okay, they only send like fake scammy NFTs. How's your bullish meter for October? I don't really have anything for this year. Like, I think all the major events are going to happen early next year in Q1 going into Q2. So for the remainder of this year, I think we're just going to hover along. We could get a couple of catalysts that drives us higher, obviously. But overall, if we end the year at 35,000, 40,000, I say that's a pretty good win. Right? If we get up a little bit above 30 and the year around 35 or 40, somewhere in between, right? That would be a good win. And then next year we build off of that. Obviously, the four things I said at the beginning can really drive things higher, and then that's when we really start moving. Bob, the Lego nerd. I appreciate that. You know, sometimes we just take, sometimes I think most of us take, you know, what we have for granted. And that includes family, right? You know, with a 9 to 5 or whatever, you know, you see your kids come and go. You see your wife or significant other come and go. Everyone's working. Everyone's busy, right? And then after a while, you realize, where did the time go, you know? It's like time. You can't get time back. Everyone regrets not having enough time. Everyone regrets in their deathbed that they didn't spend more time with their loved ones, right? And it could be your siblings. It could be your parents. Everyone always wishes they have more time. But when you do have it, everyone takes it for granted, right? So it's just one of those things. You just have to be reminded sometimes to cherish what you have, not always look for something that you don't. Thoughts about Magic? I haven't heard about Magic in a while, so I can't really comment on it. It's more of a no, it's not a DeFi chain. It's more like a gaming / NFT chain. And I forgot if it's out of Avalanche or out of somewhere, or it's its own chain, but I don't know too much about it, Raymond. Chief Santana, you are our last podcast hope after the scandal. Yeah, so end of this month, I'm guest hosting Cypherpunk. So my thinking is, in the Hidden Network guys, you know, they reached out, and I reached out to them too, talking about a few things, but I might stop by over there. I might stop by in Atlanta on my way back and check out their facility, and maybe I could do a guest hosting there too. It'll be quite different than how I'm doing things at home, but yeah, I'm thinking about doing that. Just FYI. That's the end of the month, though. A couple of weeks from now. What happened to CMC? There you go. Do you know why Cadena's up today? No, I did not. AJ, I'm curious about your thoughts on Stacks or the incoming spot Bitcoin ETF. It really has nothing to do with Stacks. But Stacks is interesting because there are enormous amount of DeFi projects right now being built on top of Bitcoin utilizing Stacks. So I think Stacks is very interesting for the future. You have stable coins, you have DEXs, you have NFT marketplaces, you have lending protocols. They're all being built on Bitcoin utilizing Stacks. So from that perspective, I think Stacks could be very interesting hold. But as for the spot Bitcoin ETF, that's not going to help Stacks. That's different. Anderson, I think the SEC will delay the spot Bitcoin ETF until March. They're going to keep delaying until the very end. The last application deadline is sometime in March. I think that's when we will see them approved. If we get one ahead of time, like November, I think there's another reading or deadline. November, October. I think it's November. You know, if we get one by the end of this year, great. It's going to be fantastic. But I think it's going to all be next year. Yeah. The next crypto gem is coming out this week. In fact, in 2 days. And I need to know the time. I still was not given a time of when it's going to come out. So I'm going to figure it out today and then let you guys know. But that's very exciting. 2 more days. It's you know, Hourglass has been posting nonstop clips and videos. I can't wait to see this show. I've not seen any episodes. I haven't seen how it's edited. Hopefully, it makes us judges look good. I think all the projects involved would be very happy. They all done a good job. Did you hear the recent interview with the former head of SEC, Jay Clayton, hinted at a possible approval? Yeah, but, you know, he's guessing along with everyone else. He's not talking with Gary Gensler. They're not sharing with him. But what we could take out of that interview is hey, he was in the same position before, and he's also thinking there's just nothing else they could say. There's nothing else Gary could say to say, no, we shouldn't have it, you know. So it's very encouraging. Again, I think out of spite, SEC will just keep delaying until March of next year. I have this crypto surge. I have to find out which channel. If you're in the U.S., it's all over. Every major cable operator will have it. It'll be on streaming channels too, like Amazon Prime, Apple TV. There's an app you can also download too. I mean, it's all over, but I'm trying to find out specifics of when it's going to come out. And then afterwards, I'm thinking like every Saturday I could do like a recap show and bring some of the projects or judges on, so then we can kind of talk about it. Like those recap shows that you for all these major TV shows, right? I'm thinking about maybe doing that on Saturdays, since there's not a whole lot of crypto news to talk about. Alrighty. I guess time to call it. Today, still not looking good. It's not horrible, but it's not good. The good news is, I guess, it looks like we're not going to have another rate hike end of this month. That would be really good. And Goldman says we're not going to go into a recession. So that's also good, right? But as for Bitcoin and crypto, a little scary right now. You got a lot of people scared of these retesting of several key indicators. But I'd like to remind you guys that the fundamentals have never been better. Reserves keeps on going down. Addresses keep on going up. And major adoption keeps happening. So stay strong, my friends. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.